Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third annual Workplace Safety Summit, Harnessing Innovation in Collaboration. My name is Sarah Isher, and I'm the program lead for the National Safety Council's MSD Solutions Lab. I'll be your host today, and thank you all for joining us as we celebrate the second anniversary of the MSD Pledge. We have a fantastic speaker lineup this afternoon, as well as some exciting program updates to share. So let's dive into what we have planned for the next 90 minutes. First, you're going to hear from NSC Executive Vice President of Workplace Practice, Paul Vincent, about the significance of the MSD Solutions Lab and what it means for workers and employers alike. Next, Amazon's Vice President of Global Workplace Health and Safety, Sarah Rhodes, will deliver a message about why this initiative is so important to them and the impact of the MSD Pledge community. We'll also show a brief video to further explain the issue at hand and how organizations like Schneider Electric and Superior Tube Products are working to address it. Then we are pleased to be joined by Julia Abate, Executive Director for the Ergonomics Center at North Carolina State University. She's going to focus on discussing how fostering innovation and collaboration plays a critical role in improving workplace health and safety. Later, we're excited to present a panel with MSD Pledge members and our inaugural MSD Solutions Lab grant recipients to discuss learnings from these programs and potential MSD solutions. Julia will rejoin us for this discussion, which also includes Dr. Meiyin Liu, Assistant Professor at Rutgers University School of Engineering, Dana Schultz, HR and Safety Manager for Superior Tube Products, Kathleen Spanjer, North American Ergonomics SME and Safety Support, Global Supply Chain for Schneider Electric. We'll conclude with some important updates about the lab, as well as announce this year's awardees for our grant programs. So be sure to stay until the end so you won't miss that. We also welcome questions from the audience, and we will do our best to get to them during today's event or in follow-up communications. If you have a question, feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Now, to kick things off, I want to welcome Executive Vice President of Workplace Practice, Paul Vincent.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for joining us for the third annual Workplace Safety Summit, Harnessing Innovation and Collaboration. It was 3 years ago this week that the National Safety Council announced the establishment of the groundbreaking MSD Solutions Lab with funding and support from Amazon. 3 years ago, since we launched a first-of-its-kind effort to address the most common workplace injuries and eliminate them. At National Safety Council, our mission is to save lives from the workplace to any place. But we also make it our mission to ensure people get to live their lives to the fullest. Musculoskeletal disorders like tendonitis, back strains, and sprains, and carpal tunnel syndrome, these injuries may not take someone's life, but they do take someone's ability to enjoy their hobbies or play with their kids. These are not small losses, and we cannot afford to overlook them as a community, because not only do these injuries impact workers, but their families, employers, and also communities. That's why we launched the lab, and why in 2022 we issued the first ever call to action through the MSD Pledge. The Pledge's goals, while ambitious, was simple: create safer outcomes for millions of workers worldwide by collectively reducing MSD risks and injuries by 25% by 2025. No small feat. 2 years ago, we launched the MSD Pledge with just 16 founder member organizations. And today, I'm delighted to tell you that we have more than 200 organizations committing to solving MSDs and reducing risk. Through our MSD Solutions Index, we have shown pledge organizations rate their ability to prevent MSDs as either very good or excellent. And many are dedicated to the continuous improvement needed to solve this issue. I am thrilled to also highlight the impact our work has created through the grant program. Here at NSC, we are so grateful to Amazon for funding this impactful program, which seeks to expand solutions available to all of you I look forward to hearing from our previous awardees later in the program. Through all of this, we are seeing incredible results, but we also know there's plenty more work to be done. I know that doesn't come as news to any of you. You're here today to learn more, discover new solutions, and take that next step on your journey to preventing injuries and saving lives in your workplace. So I'm going to end here by saying welcome. Thank you for joining us as we strive to make people safer and the workplaces safer together. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce Sarah Rhodes, Vice President of Workplace Safety at Amazon, which supports the MSD Solutions Lab. A former Navy fighter pilot, Sarah joined Amazon team in 2011 as an operations manager. Now she is charged with leading the safety of a global workforce that totals more than 1 million employees across 6 continents. Sarah unfortunately couldn't be with us live today, but she's recorded a message to share with you all. Over to you, Sarah.
I'm pleased to welcome you as we mark the 2nd anniversary of the MSD Pledge. Amazon approached NSC with the idea to focus on MSDs, the leading cause of workplace injuries. Together, we formed the Solutions Lab to focus resources on a prevalent problem that frankly hadn't received enough attention in our industry. Today, I am so proud to see the Solutions Lab preparing for a 3rd innovation challenge, piloting solutions, making case studies available to all, providing valuable research, and making it accessible to businesses of all sizes, as well as employees. To those of you fellow MSD Pledge signers, a special thank you for the commitment you have made. We have 200 pledge signers covering more than 2.8 million employees, and I hope we have some future pledge signers listening today. Thank you for taking the time to join this summit. I look forward to learning from all of today's presenters.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for your insightful remarks about the pledge and most importantly, for Amazon's support of this initiative. It takes great partners and collaboration from all of us to help solve an issue on this scale. Next, in the spirit of celebrating the progress of our safety community and celebrating the pledge, we are excited to share with you all a video featuring MSD Pledge members, Schneider Electric and Superior Tube Products, highlighting how they put MSD prevention into action.
Here at Schneider, everybody is really graded safety from the top level down. We grade more on identification of risks and fixing them before they happen. That's part of my goal, that's part of my management team's goal, and it's part of our conversation in every morning meeting with all employees.
As the union president, it is my role to make sure that this is a safe place to work for people and that we work together as employees in the company to make this safe.
A couple of things that I think are really unique and special for our facility is we have a trigger point therapist that comes on site.
The workers here, a lot of them have a lot of pain in the hands from a lot of redundant movements or actions, or from standing on the floor, they have a lot of with the steel-toed shoes, and on the cement floor, they have a lot of low back pain or leg pain. I can come in and I can help alleviate some of that pain and also reverse it so people who come in before they actually have the pain, you can actually prevent it from happening by keeping them loose or keeping their muscles relaxed. It's also been proven that massage therapy can help prevent injuries from occurring by basically having these employees be relaxed.
We also have a physical therapist that walks around the facility talking to people. He watches how they're doing work.
Maybe if they have bad body mechanics, bad posture, or maybe the workstation isn't set up properly for them, and how we can work through that. I can work with the supervisor in working on job rotation or some accommodations for them, trying to identify those things that would be causing those disorders. Very simply, if we just break it down into 3 simple things. If we look at posture, what the load or force is, how heavy they're using, and then what the repetition is.
Other times it's something from home that they're bringing to work and it's aggravated at work. He helps them come up with solutions.
Another wonderful thing that Schneider Electric has done to reduce those musculoskeletal disorders is reducing the amount of weight. So here in this plant, nobody lifts any more than 26 pounds.
What makes our safety committee and ergo committee so successful here is the workforce involvement.
I'm involved in that by going through all of the meetings, walking the floor, and making sure we have the tools to do the job correctly. Someone would say, oh, my back is hurting really bad today. I'd say, put your chair down a little bit and see if that helps. She was still at the right height to assemble, just a world of a difference. That's preventative. That could have saved her a lot of money in going to the chiropractor.
One of the things that we're excited about with the MSD labs is that we felt like we were always being the one bringing things to the table. And it was really neat when we found out about the MSD labs is that we're finding out that there's people out there that can help us. We can help other people too, but then there's the opportunity for us to learn from them as well as share our best practices.
There's the $5 fix, there's the $5,000 fix, and there's a $5 million fix. And if you just spend some time with the employees, with your supervisors and talk to them, you can usually find lots of $5 fixes out there that can make a real difference in the employees' satisfaction, how they feel, their productivity, and of course, that they can return home safely and feeling good.
One of the things that we did at Spirit 2 Products was recognize that we needed to improve our safety culture. Worker safety is a top priority. We are a 100% employee-owned company. Our employees are our stakeholders, and it is critical that they go home the same way that they came in. The things that are most important to our employees are not the things in this building.
We have a lot of different ways that we fabricate steel tubing, and so we have to deal with repetitive motion with some of our lighter weight, smaller parts, and then we also have to deal with heavy lifting and awkward postures with some of our structural parts.
The safety culture now is a lot better than it was years in the past. Now we're looking ahead on what we're doing and making sure it is safe before we're doing it. Before it was kind of the get it done atmosphere, and now it's what are we doing, what's going on, how is this going to be safe to do it. Doing a gimbal walk as a group, letting others that aren't on the floor daily understand what's going on, and then they look at it a totally different way than somebody that's been on the floor every day. It could be 3-4 people, it could be 5-6 people. Just getting the team together, go out, operators are working on a job, let them keep working, doing what they do every day, but just evaluating their area while they're doing it and what they're doing. Take it in, kind of do your own homework, and then get back together.
We wanted to get early injury prevention in place, and so we partnered with a local company, included things like stretches, and we do that twice a day, every day. It also included understanding our operations, some of the ergonomics behind it, and how to take simple approaches to alleviate some MSD injury potential. They're very costly. From a culture perspective, they're also very visible and noticeable. When somebody is out with an MSD injury, other teammates definitely take note. The specific reason why we signed the MSD pledge, I will give credit to our safety manager, Dana Schultz.
MSDs are lifelong impacting injuries. I mean, it's not something that you can just get over. They can significantly impact your day-to-day at work. Maybe you can't even do your job anymore because of the injury that you've received. Or maybe you can't have the lifestyle that you want to outside of work. And since we've signed the pledge, we've reduced our MSD injuries almost 90% through the guidelines through the Solutions Lab and through industry experts. I came across the MSD pledge and the National Safety Council and just some general research that I was doing, and I really liked what they were presenting as the benefits of signing the MSD pledge. You get access to companies all around the country that are in different stages of their safety program.
And when an organization joins the pledge community, they are truly joining a community that they can share ideas with, network, benchmark, and really understand what they can do to make their workplaces safer. Part of the community and part of the MSD Solutions Lab is really about sharing all different types of solutions. That could be something as small as a fix of changing wheels or as large as robotics. We understand that it doesn't have to be some bright, shiny thing. It can really be a small fix as long as it's focused on reducing the risk for the employee. So really, you're joining this community, and we all have the common goal of reducing MSDs in the workplace. So now's the time to join us to really get involved with our research and our grants and all the solutions and programs that we have.
Wow, what a powerful video, and I'm so grateful that I was able to visit Superior Tube Products on site. I want to give a special thanks to Schneider Electric and Superior Tube Products for not only participating in this video, but really for their commitment to caring for their workers and sharing their stories with us, which you'll hear more about during our panel discussion. First, we have our distinguished guest speaker, Julia Abate. She is the Executive Director for the Ergonomics Center at North Carolina State University. Julia has more than 25 years of experience helping companies develop and grow their ergonomics programs, including multiple stints at the Ergonomics Center, SAS Institute as a Senior Ergonomics Specialist and Sandalwood Enterprises and as an Ergonomics Project Manager. She also serves as the chairperson of the Applied Ergonomics Conference, and I'm pleased to share that she's one of the MSD Solutions Lab's esteemed advisory council members. With that, please welcome Julia.
Thank you, Sarah, for the introduction and for the kind invitation to speak today about the power and innovation with collaboration in the world of ergonomics. There are so many things going on in our field right now, and I'm excited to share a few with you. My goal is to share some stories with you about successful and innovative collaborations in the hopes that they, along with the examples from the upcoming panel, will create a spark of inspiration for you to take back to your organizations. So let's start with some definitions. The Cambridge Dictionary defines innovation as the creation and use of new ideas or methods. Now, I don't know about you, but when I used to hear the word innovation, I usually thought about technology, things like the electric car, the latest iPhone, or whatever other gadgets were coming out next. I used to think that innovation wasn't necessarily something that applied to me. But in reality, innovation is not limited to the latest and greatest fancy new tech toy. Innovation is just a new and better way of thinking or doing something that you do on a daily basis. And Steve Jobs once said that innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity and not a threat. And change is a hard concept for a lot of us. It doesn't mean, though, that we're doing something wrong. It just means that there might be a better way or an easier way to do something. And if we can keep an open mind or a growth mindset that allows new ideas to take root and develop into something more, then any of us or all of us can be innovative. When we think about collaboration, it's defined as simply the act of working together with other people or organizations to create or achieve something. And I know there are times that people cringe when they hear that word team project or working on a team. And working with others isn't always all rainbows and sunshine. There can be challenges to overcome, especially when you don't have the right mix on your team. However, each of us successfully collaborates every single day, at home, at work, or at play. And when we work with others, the tasks that are difficult or seemingly insurmountable can be broken down so that they're manageable and achievable. And collaboration can involve a single person, like in a marriage, or it can involve a group as large as the football team or more. But the power of the many is exponentially greater than that of the one, and each person brings with them a unique combination of knowledge and experiences to contribute towards an end goal. Now, I've worked with a lot of teams over the years, and the one thing I've learned about myself is that I am not the type of person that can come up with that one big, great idea. However, I can work with that big picture thinker or that dreamer, that person who has the great idea, and I can help build on it. I can help it become a reality. And if it's something that I know is outside of my wheelhouse, I know that I can connect them to someone else who can help instead. And I see these types of scenarios play out with ergonomics teams all the time. A worker who might have a great idea to improve a job, but maybe not necessarily the resources or influences to make that idea a reality. However, when you build a cross-functional ergonomics team, other team members bring with them resources and connections to help that worker make a change that otherwise they would not have been able to make happen on their own. Every successful team needs a blend of participants to contribute their ideas, their experiences, and their skills. You see, collaboration and innovation in ergonomics can and does occur anywhere at all levels. The resulting changes don't have to be groundbreaking to be effective. They can be those $5 changes and make a difference. So we're going to look at some examples, starting at the plant level, with some recent participants in the Ergonomics Cup competition at the Applied Ergonomics Conference. So this first example comes from Timken Company's Mascot, Tennessee facility. This site serves the North America rail industry by providing new and reconditioned rail bearings assemblies for their passenger freight, locomotive, and industrial applications. The problem they identified was a job where employees had to sort Class K bearings before they could be reconditioned safely. These employees had to manually lift the bearings, which weighed up to 110 pounds. They then had to carry the bearings and place them on a pallet on the ground. Now, this task was also performed at multiple other locations throughout Timken Rail Services in North America. As you can imagine, this activity resulted in injuries to the neck, back, shoulders, elbows, wrists, and hands. And it also caused several near-miss incidents involving hands, fingers, and feet when the dirty, greasy bearings slipped out of the employee's hands. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, or I hope at least you're thinking, why are they manually lifting 110 pounds? And I chose this example to share with you because it's not just the weight that's a concern, because yes, 110 pounds is a very excessive lift, but the risk is exacerbated by the fact that the pallet is on the ground, which is one of my biggest pet peeves as an ergonomist. This is something that we typically find in the majority of the facilities we visit, employees lifting heavy objects to and from the ground. Now, there's a reason that injuries involving overexertion from handling objects continues to be the leading cause of disabling workplace injuries, according to the Liberty Mutual's annual Workplace Safety Index. We continue to place workers in these types of situations. And sometimes we try training, but training in safe lifting methods really doesn't reduce the physical risk the worker is exposed to when lifting or lowering objects to the ground, be it 10 pounds or 110 pounds. You really have to change the work environment and get those objects off the floor or handle them in a different way. And that's just what this team did. The safety team in the reconditioning area worked with other safety and engineering teams to redesign the job. This redesign introduced a sorting table and a chute assembly that would allow the bearings to be easily sorted into pallets or sent to a breakdown press without the need to lift any components. The idea for the solution was proposed by the area supervisor and his team. And the area safety team worked alongside plant safety, maintenance, and engineering teams to design the new sorting chute and table. The entire reconditioning team, supervisors, operators, and managers were involved in every step to make sure that the changes would improve the workflow and overall safety in the area. When they were done, they built a custom table with guide rails at the sides and chutes that could be adjusted for different bearing sizes. Controls were also installed under the table to operate bearing pallet conveyor and an adjustable height lift to raise and lower that pallet. From concept to completion, this project was accomplished without any outside resources, and the team adjusted building constraints, listened to the input from the associates in the area, and in the end, made the workplace safer and more efficient for their team members. This redesigned workstation completely eliminated the lift of the bearing, which was reported to be about 27,000 pounds of physical lifting per shift per employee. They saw a risk reduction of 79% and had no further incidents or injuries to the employees since the installation of the new workstation. These changes were made for about $200, mostly due to the steel to complete the build of the custom sorting table and chute assembly. Now, the chute and table assembly were installed during already planned equipment idle time, so there was no unplanned loss of production. In fact, the team reported a 13% increase in production, resulting from this near instant return on investment. And better yet, their solution was shared with all the other rail bearings facilities so they could benefit as well. And this is an example where worker innovation was truly enabled and realized through that team collaboration. So let's take a look at a slightly more proactive approach with this design example from Tesla's Ergo Cup submission in 2023, which addressed a problem that is actually very common in the automotive industry. Traditionally, the rear of the vehicle body is enclosed during the assembly process, restricting worker access to the vehicle when they're installing multiple components in the trunk and the liftgate area. This creates an awkward posture and some extended reaches for the workers, increasing that risk of injury. The design engineers at Tesla used digital human modeling to design a single-piece casting, which they deemed the super tub. The super tub replaced 70 parts and fastening elements, 300 welding and fastening robots, and numerous stamping and welding processes. The super tub is made of molded plastic and has an easy drop installation. This new design also allowed walk-in access for operators prior to the installation of the tub so they could get closer to their work areas, which minimized reach and clearance issues and allowed work in more neutral postures. This example showcases that collaboration and innovation in addressing ergonomics issues doesn't only improve the ergonomic risk, it can also positively affect other business key measures. This innovative design, which deviated significantly from how cars have been made for decades, not only resulted in decreased ergonomic risk, but also led to labor savings of over $7 a vehicle, a 40% reduction in the manufacturing costs, and improved performance in both rear crash tests and noise, vibration, and harshness tests. And innovation and collaboration can be even more impactful at a program level. Lockheed Martin demonstrated the positive effect of their participative program and how it built towards a culture that supported early intervention. They tracked the projects their teams worked on for the first couple of years of the program, and in 2022 reported a total of $2 million in annual savings and 8,000 hours in labor savings, which helped justify the cost of the program as well as any of the solutions that were implemented. Now, I want to highlight the fact that they reported an increase in their first aid cases. You will typically see results like this from an initial introduction of ergonomics initiatives. It means that workers are reporting discomfort and issues early before it becomes an injury, and that's a good thing. It also demonstrates that workers are comfortable reporting those concerns and have confidence that the business will address the issues they've identified. The increase in first aid cases is usually followed by a decrease in the severity rates. When the issues are corrected early, those first aid cases resolve before they get more serious, and that's a good trend to see. So let's take a look now at what happens when the concepts of innovation and collaboration are applied at a broader level within the field of ergonomics. These are just a few of the many examples of organizations where professionals have come together to develop and share resources and solutions around workplace challenges that lead to musculoskeletal injuries in the workplace. I've already shared a few examples from the Applied Ergonomics Conference, which is sponsored by the Applied Ergonomics Society at the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers. Now I want to highlight just a few of the other resources that evolved from these other professional collaborations. The American Industrial Hygiene Association has an ergonomics committee that has published an ergonomics toolkit, which provides information on many of the analysis tools that are used to evaluate the risk of musculoskeletal injuries. This resource, which is free and available to the public, includes information such as the tool developers, the risk factors, regions of the bodies considered, and the types of tasks that could be analyzed with the tool. Now, Dr. Reed of Boeing is one of the professionals leading the ASTM effort to create standards around the use of exoskeleton technology to make sure that they're safe, effective, and designed with the user in mind. If you are thinking about using exoskeletons at your facility, I would encourage you to start by listening to a webinar by Dr. Reed or any of the ergonomics team at Boeing, so you can learn about their journey, their lessons learned, and some of the best practices they've developed. The materials offered by ASTM are not free, but they do provide valuable information. The guidelines and standardization of exoskeleton testing allows companies to compare results across products and with other companies, and minimizes the duplication of efforts and variation in results. They also help the vendors design better products that meet industry needs. The National Safety Council, our host today, with the funding support from Amazon, has formed that MSD Solutions Lab, which addresses the critical issues of musculoskeletal injuries in the workplace. Their goal is to reduce those injuries, and they hope to accomplish it by engaging the stakeholders, conducting research, identifying new technology, innovating solutions, and scaling the results so that all workplaces can benefit. The MSD Solutions Advisory Board has over 50 professionals, including ergonomists, safety and risk managers, business leaders, engineers, academics, and industrial hygienists, all working across various sectors, including academia, manufacturing, healthcare, solution providers, nonprofits, government entities, and more. It's truly a diverse group of highly regarded professionals, and I'm honored to be a part of it. Everyone has come together to work towards solving a problem that is larger than any one person or organization can solve on its own. And you're going to be hearing more shortly about the MSD Pledge and some of the resources this effort has generated, which are available free to the public. I'm also excited to hear about the grant recipients and what they've done in the upcoming panel. They represent many of the organizations and vendors and universities who are working hard towards developing solutions to address those MSDs. And to close, all of us have the power and the ability to drive innovation through collaboration. The evidence is all around you if you take time to look. Your role may be large or small, and the results may be very simple or very complex. But by working together, whether it's at your site, your company, or through the broader profession, all of us can choose to make a difference to improve the workplace for workers everywhere. And if you need a place to start, you can help me with my pet peeve and find some of those heavy materials stored on the ground, and then find a solution that improves the job for your workers. Thank you, and happy innovating.
Thank you, Julia, for that thoughtful discussion on how organizations and businesses can think about harnessing innovation and collaboration as it relates to ergonomics. In our next conversation, we are honored to speak with safety leaders who have championed innovation solutions, research, and a culture of safety as MSD Pledge members and a recipient of our inaugural Research to Solutions grant program. Just as a reminder, we welcome folks to submit their questions via the Q&A function, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can before the end of the discussion. Otherwise, we will follow up post-event. Now, I'm pleased to welcome our speakers. All panelists are experts in health and safety, ergonomics and innovation in industries ranging from academia to fabrication and engineering to digital automation and energy management. Dr. Meiyin Liu, as an assistant professor at the Rutgers University School of Engineering, where she focuses on leveraging automation and robotics to improve construction job site performance, especially in regard to safety. We're also joined by Kathleen Spanjer, North American Ergonomics SME and safety support for Schneider Electric. Kathy has worked with the company in various safety roles for nearly 20 years, and prior to that, held safety positions in the meatpacking and electronic breaker assembly industries. Next, we are joined by Dana Schultz, HR and Safety Manager for Superior Tube Products. A Navy veteran, Dana has spent the last 5 years creating the safety culture, managing human resources, and developing training programs at the company. Meiyin, Kathy, Dana, and Julia, thank you for joining us. So to start this off, Meiyin, would love to start with you. You were awarded one of last year's Research to Solutions grants. Congratulations. Can you tell us a bit more about your project for the Research to Solutions grant that you received?
Thank you. I'm honored to be invited here. The project's aim is to develop a solution to help automate 2 steps in a typical ergonomics program, that is identifying the ergonomic problem and provide a solution from a photo of a job by leveraging artificial intelligence. If I describe the research product in a more concrete way, a user can open a website which let you upload a photo of a job with potential ergonomic risk. Then you can hit a button to submit the photo to our cloud server. Then you will see 2 sentences generated in text. The first sentence tells you the identified ergonomic problem showing up in the picture or photo, and the second gives you the solution, like, for example, changing the tool for the job.
That's really amazing work. So what made you apply for this grant from NSC?
It is pretty rare to see funding opportunities in ergonomics for academia, especially one that is specifically for ergonomics, meaning that all reviewers are experts in this field and would easily recognize the potential impact of the proposed research. So when we prepare the proposal, we could more focus on the research plan instead of worrying about the significance to convince the reviewers potentially beyond this domain. Meanwhile, I love the emphasis on solution, which is distinct from a typical research funding, making it great fit with me, who focused on translational research and product prototyping in the past. In addition to that, the status of the team was excellent when the opportunity shows up. For example, I'm in an active collaboration with the industry collaborator to commercialize a related technology. So when they were notified about this opportunity, they pass it to me right away. Otherwise, I may not have a way to channel to know it. And then we happen to have this great idea to explore, which sits on our to-do list, waiting for a resource to initiate it. So I just apply with the support from my collaborators.
Thank you so much. As a part of the Solutions Lab team, I'm so excited to see those results from that project. So next, Dana, congratulations as an awardee of a Pilot Solutions grant this year. Can you share with us what you will be doing or have done with this pilot grant?
Yes, thank you for having me today. We plan on using our pilot grant to partner with 3Motion AI to use our Flash-like technology to do MSD risk assessments for all of our work centers and our employees to get a risk map of our facility and focus our solutions to those high-risk areas. We're still in the initial stages of the project, but we've already been able to use it for one of our solutions where we were able to take the Flash-like technology with our phone and take a look at what the worker was doing and understand where their risk profile was. And then we implemented a solution and we're able to use that same technology to evaluate it to see how that solution impacted the worker's overall health and MSD risk.
That's great to hear. So kind of a similar question what I asked before. Dana, what made you apply for this grant from NSC?
Yeah, so as a small business, sometimes you have limited resources, and the NSC and the MSD pledge provided a unique solution for us. The grant completely funded the ability for us to partner with 3Motion AI and use their technology for an entire year to get what we needed to, which would have taken us a lot longer had we had to do it manually.
It's amazing to hear. I'm glad that, we're able to fund such important work for you all. So Kathy, on the topic of collaboration, are there any examples you can share with our audience on how Schneider Electric collaborates in the workplace?
Yes, we quite often are working with external vendors and as well as collaborating inside. We spend most of our time working with Ergo Plus. They provide our injury prevention specialists on site, and this has been very helpful for us to do that. We have presented a couple case studies, one of which is called an effective use of injury prevention specialists. And it was almost cathartic to share that because we've had such a successful run with them since 1998 or something like that. But I guess that's it.
Thanks. So to kind of choose these projects or choose these vendors or outside partners, how do you brainstorm with your staff for insights based on your needs?
Well, I don't really have a staff, but I do have a bevy of coworkers and peers that we get together and we collaborate and talk about that. We have globally, we have regional subject matter experts, and we're all constantly attempting to meet and talk about, what are we interested in? What are we seeing out there that we might be able to gain some benefit from? So that is our primary method. And of course, attending sessions like this, listening to what other companies are doing, because not what works for one company necessarily works for somebody else, but it's really nice to hear their experiences, read the case studies, and find out what we want to try. And sometimes we try it and it works, and sometimes it doesn't work. So,
yep, totally understand. It's important to be able to have a platform to share those types of things where you can learn from each other.
Yes.
And really decide what works for you in your workforce and their needs.
Mm-hmm.
So Julia, can you provide some examples of successful innovations resulting from effective collaboration? And then also kind of highlight the key players and their challenges and how you kind of created or overcame those to create these solutions.
I think the biggest examples I have are always at that Ergo Cup competition. where it's employee driven. The employees that are out there doing the job every day, they know where their pain points are and they have ideas that they want to share. So when you take some of you enable those employees to share, whether it's with an ergonomics team or it's in a tip box, but you somehow find a way to gather the ideas that your employees have, and then implement them and enable them to, grow those ideas. Those are always the most successful ones. And you can have, ideas that, like the video said, are $5 or $5 million, but the majority of them are going to be within an acceptable price point that if you invest in it, it not only addresses that ergonomic issue, but it also will usually give back to the company, because when you design that work for the workers, then you'll see some benefits in productivity and quality and all those other key measures. So that's where, when you're looking at that and you're looking at those innovations that, especially the ones that are brought by the employees, you have to broaden your range. It's not just about, it is about the injuries, but it's not just about the injuries, because, when you use those ideas, they'll typically make the work better in general.
Yep. And as you said, if we invest in our workers, that's really where we will see results.
Yep.
So as a follow-up to that, what are some of the emerging trends and innovation that you've been seeing, and how might they affect different businesses and industries?
We've seen a lot of the wearables, the exoskeletons, the vision systems that Dr. Liu is talking about, a lot of attempts to bring AI into it and make things a little easier, so that we're not spending as much time maybe on the analysis, but spending more time on this and money on the solutions. And not every bit of technology is necessarily applicable to every job. That's one of the things that they're finding with exoskeletons. There are certain exoskeletons work really well for certain jobs, but you can't necessarily make a blanket application of the same exoskeleton in all the different jobs that maybe require overhead reach. Some of them are a little better to work with than others. So finding that right solution takes a little bit of time and money, but the tech that's coming out there, those vendors are really working with their clients, and they're really working to make sure that the solutions they come up with, fit, that the straps on the exoskeletons don't rub, that the exoskeleton fits the small and the large. They're really trying to adapt their designs for the workers as they're using them.
Love to hear that. Thanks, Julia. So Dr. Liu, as an academic innovator, can you enlighten the audience with your research innovation in addressing MSDs? Oh, sorry, you're on mute.
Yes, sure. An ergonomic program to evaluate an existing job usually starts with 3 major steps before implementing a solution to improve the job and potentially reduce MSDs. The first step is to observe the job and identify the ergonomic problem. From the description of the problem, you can find risk factors like posture and vibration. Then the second step is to assess the level of ergonomic risk by applying specific risk assessment tools after you know what risk factors to look at. For example, we use Rula or rebar for general posture-related risk and vibration risk assessment for vibration. The third step is to propose a solution for a hazardous job. Our prior research automated the second step regarding posture-related risks with AI, which is now an accessible product in the market, leaving the first and the third step not fully automated. So to streamline the 3 steps, we proposed the puzzle pieces. They are the first and third step, which is problem and solution identification, automated by AI. Ultimately, we aim at having an end-to-end solution from a photo or video all the way to ergonomic solutions identified.
Thank you so much. And who did you collaborate with, and why was it important to partner or collaborate with them for this project?
I have industry and academic collaborators. In industry, it is Velocity EHS, who is a provider of EHS management software solutions. Its critical role in this project includes insightful vision about the future of ergonomics. so I can be confident about the significance of the proposed research. It also has the greatest experts in this field who can help evaluate whether the research roadmap would be feasible for the real job sites, because the process of research involves countless decisions along the way. Without the expertise about the knowledge domain and the field from day one of the research, it is very difficult not to make unrealistic assumptions during the process. Last but not the least, an industrial collaborator has the direct access to real data. This is crucial because nowadays AI tools usually rely on huge data sets. I also have an academic collaborator, Dr. Sang-Yang Li, who is a full professor in the University of Michigan. He was my PhD advisor, so we can work together seamlessly. A senior academic collaborator, like a full professor, can provide great feedback on research methodology. So when we develop the roadmap, it can be driven in a scientific and reliable way. This is especially important for a new research problem in a given time constraint.
Thanks so much. So Dana, as an industrial partner, can you share a bit more about who you are collaborating with and why it is important to partner or collaborate with the solution provider for risk reduction of MSDs?
Yes, we partnered with 3Motion AI, and I was put in touch with Lisa Cruft. She's been in the industry for a really long time. And to partner with somebody that has been in the industry helps us get the project and plan off the ground a lot quicker. Their technology uses just a cell phone and an app that you can download, and it's called flashlight technology. So I can walk out to a work cell with my phone, hold up this app, and I can see in real time what ergonomic risk that employee has at that minute. And I can also do an assessment where it takes those data points from the video and produces an extremely detailed report to include some of those ones that you can do manually, like the REBA. And it gives us an idea of what risk factors we do have. And then we can turn around and use that same software that, let's say we have a shoulder risk and we implemented a solution for that. We can take the same flashlight technology, reevaluate the worker, and see if that solution had the impact that we wanted it to. And so 3Motion AI really had exactly what we needed in their technology to move into those next, steps of our safety program.
Thanks so much. And I really love the focus on the worker, right? So Kathy, in the last 2 years, you have contributed greatly to the MSD Solutions Lab, and sometimes we kind of speak to you as our MVP by sharing resources from Schneider. Really getting involved in our lab webinars and sharing your expertise at the recent Future of EHS. So again, thank you for your continued support. So question for you. Could you please share your thoughts on your recent experience working with our lab, where you shared case studies? I know you mentioned them earlier. Successful innovations and really result in effective collaboration.
Definitely. Working with the MSD lab was awesome, as usual. If you haven't had the experience to put something in as far as a suggestion, or reach out to them, or work with them on a case study, have a video, I would highly recommend it. It's always been a very good experience. It was very simple. I created a draft. They actually gave me examples of what is out there. I created a draft. They gave me some recommendations, and we had a fair amount of tweaking, and ended up with a pretty good case study at the end. So great experience.
Great. Thanks so much, Kathy. Julia, switching gears, can you share some practical solutions to common challenges like communication barriers and resistance to change?
Sorry about that. A lot of it is change implementation, just making sure that the workers are involved, that if they're in a job and they're going to be making a change, get their input, get their feedback. If you're implementing some type of technology, do a pilot, get some feedback from them, find out if it's working, if it's not. Just having that say, I know I'm very resistant. When somebody tells me I have to do something, I put that barrier up. But if somebody says, hey, can you help me with this, and phrases it a little differently, or, I need your help to do this. Will you give me some feedback on this? Will you try it? Instead of, you have to do this. So a lot of times it's just the way we implement things. And it's that basic change management, making sure we're getting input, feedback, and then actually doing something about it.
Yeah, really focusing on that participatory approach, like we've been talking about. So, Dr. Liu, can you share with us how aspects other than collaboration for this grant assist you in your translational research?
Sure. To add to some aspects embedded in my previous answers, I would like to mention the synergistic multidisciplinary knowledge from primary team members. Apart from the domains of ergonomics and AI, we also need knowledge including product development, cognitive science, and software engineering, etc. I feel lucky to be qualified to mentor PhD students who has the flexibility to let me articulate their educational and training program. But I do see a challenge in the industry to recruit someone who already have the skill set or have the luxury to learn alongside a full-time job.
Thanks so much. So Dana, back to you. Can you please share how you envision this grant assisting in addressing injuries at your workplace?
Yes, for us, we're still pretty early in our safety journey, and there are a lot of things that we haven't uncovered in our workplace that are risk, specifically with MSD injuries. And one of the things that I really liked when I started using the technology was what I thought might be a risk wasn't actually the biggest risk of that worker. And so really being able to use the technology to understand what we actually have out on the floor, and then again, being able to formulate solutions with our workers and then evaluate those solutions to make sure that they did what we intended them to do.
Thanks, Dana. I'll be interested to see how this plays out and look forward to hearing more throughout the process. So Kathy, are there any challenges you'd like to share with us that you faced at Schneider in mitigating risk for MSDs? And how did you overcome those?
Definitely, there's always challenges. One was already mentioned, and that is the resistance to change that the employees have. And we're not just talking the line workers, we're talking the supervisors and even the leaders. Sometimes with technology, it's easier to get their interest because they see something bright and shiny and say, hey, I want to implement that, so let's do it, whether it's appropriate or not for your situation. But then when you try to do some of the basic design work and changes, and here we'd like to give you a manipulator to use, sometimes the employees respond with, nah, I can do it faster, so I don't need that. I think one of our biggest challenges was that we didn't have an organized effort to address ergonomics. Ergonomics was very embedded in safety. And so it was kind of left up as it's just one of those safety things you guys have to worry about. And until you can pull that out and create an actual program, I was fortunate the company did create a role as first time they've ever had someone in charge of ergonomics. And so we were able then to start building programs and processes and expectations and asking the sites to report back and tell us what their status is. And we've made the ergonomics process very visible. So that's been very good. We also had an issue with, we were requiring sites to do ergo design, but we weren't providing them with routine ergo design classes. We just were kind of leaving them to their own to try to figure out how to get that done. So with the creation of the role, we now can provide ergo design classes in both English and in Spanish, which has been very helpful. And then the last thing I would want to mention on that is in the past, we did not identify anybody at the site to embrace ergonomics. Again, it always falls on the safety manager, and they already have safety and security and COVID and CTPAT and all sorts of things, and ergonomics was just another thing. So we're doing our best, but that's a big challenge, trying to identify an ergonomic lead at each site that truly takes on those responsibilities that we're now rolling out to the site. So
yeah, as someone who used to work in manufacturing as a site IH that had ergonomics added to their plate, I appreciate you saying that. And I think that's also something that we point out throughout our MSD Solutions resources, that you really need a champion, you know, whether it's a frontline worker or an executive or everyone in between, right? You need a team to champion this type of work, because if not, it'll get lost in translation to everything else that's going on.
Yep.
So Julia, is the executive director for the Ergonomics Center, where you have built a team of ergonomists and problem solvers. What are your views on how organizations can foster a culture of innovation through collaboration?
I think embracing differences, different experiences, different educations, different backgrounds. If everyone comes with the same mindset, then the ideas you get don't, you know, they'll follow this one path. I had one company that when they formed the ergonomics team, took all the injured employees and decided that was the best team. So, you know, we had to work with them to say, no, you want people who have a passion for it, but you need, you know, maintenance folks, you want your engineers, you want your management, your supervisors, your team members. You need a cross-functional group that has different experiences to draw from, even if they're hobbies. You know, I've seen folks on the floor, even maintenance, bring in examples that they've used in their home life. Oh, I do this at home. I could apply this concept here to improve the job. So just making sure that you foster that, you know, that environment where it's okay to share ideas, and we come from different experiences, but that we can build on each other.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. My favorite quote is, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? So we need to make sure that we're bringing together people from different perspectives and backgrounds to really create, you know, a sustainable solution for the workforce. So all of you, we can kind of go around the room in a quick round robin before we shift to audience Q&A, because we have some questions coming in. What 1 to 2 lessons learned from your collaborative efforts that you'd like to share with the audience? And Dr. Liu, I'd like to start with you.
Sure. I want to use this opportunity to follow up my previous answers to my previous questions. I can give one example to show why it makes a difference to have one person to have knowledge from multidisciplines like ergonomics and AI. When we intuitively started with applying existing technologies called image captioning from AI community, we realized that it could give reasonable results, but does not come with a mechanism to enforce a reliable ergonomic solution, which is the second part of our output. Once we have the knowledge about how an ergonomic solution is generated, we will realize that the input for AI model should not only be the image, but also clues in the problem sentence. Therefore, we made a new AI architecture instead of using existing ones to accept both image and the generated problem sentence for generating the solution sentence. In short, as an educator, I do see a need to help our next generation of workforce to be equipped with synergistic multidisciplinary knowledge, because they would be involved in the transforming of many traditional industries like what we are in here.
Thanks so much. And Kathy, what are your 1 to 2 lessons learned from all of your efforts?
I would say being open to change, but with a word of caution, don't just jump at bright and shiny. Bright and shiny isn't always the best thing to do, but I think that's important. And making your program visible. We have just risen in light years in the few years that we have been showing our leadership, you know, how many ergonomic injuries we are having. Pull out your work comp costs and show them that, because that talks a lot to them. Know by site what their risk profile is. Site A has 40% high risk jobs, tasks that need to be addressed, and so you're going to need to funnel some money in there. So raising that awareness has been extremely important.
Thanks, Kathy. And Dana, what are a couple takeaways?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, obviously, I'm going to nerd out and be super excited about the technology, especially how it's going to impact our safety culture, our work comp costs, all of it. But including my team in that excitement and showing them what this technology can do and getting them excited about it as well has been an extremely valuable part of our safety program. The more that they're excited about it and share that excitement, the more that they're willing to participate and also offer solutions. So that'd be my one.
Yeah, and when I was on site, I saw that excitement. So it was great to see in action. Julia, closing with you, what are your couple takeaways for the group?
One, more on a relationship side, that it's important to foster the relationships with the teams and with the employees. And in doing that, you need to build trust. And sometimes you just need to start small. It doesn't have to be, bringing big technology into the plant right away. It can start, if you're not there, with taking some of those ideas from those employees, implementing them, and then sharing your successes and building on that. But building that trust where it gets to a point that the employees feel like they can share their ideas, and then that their ideas are going to be heard and implemented. So you can start small. It doesn't have to be big, but still building that trust with them.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thank you all for kind of taking this through this conversation in the panel. We do have some audience Q&A, so let's start there. So Dana, was the AI-powered technology you described for awkward posture assessments only, or does it also capture aspects on manual material handling and repetitive tasks automatically?
Yeah, so with the technology, you are able to put in the weight of the object being lifted. For us, the weight of the part, how frequently they are doing this task, and how long that task is to complete the assessment. So while the technology, the video capture, is really looking at the posture that they're using, you do have that additional information that will be factored into the overall assessment. From what I understand, the only limitation really with the software right now is it cannot measure force. So one of our projects, we had a punch unit where the part was getting stopped. And so when we took the analysis of that, them having to yank the part out wasn't necessarily being captured from that force, but their posture was being captured. So we still got a pretty accurate score for that. And again, being able to add that weight, frequency, and duration helped as well.
Thanks, Dana. So this next question, I'm going to point to you, Kathy. Should employers offer incentives to champions of MSD solutions? And what do you think these incentives could look like?
I think that's a great idea. So that there's your answer right there. We are currently not giving them any type of incentive other than we do ask and request that the sites include some of their responsibilities as part of their performance review, so that they're at least acknowledged that they're going above and beyond or doing something maybe a little more specific than what was previous on their performance review. I could see giving them points. All companies have some type of program generally where they can give them points, and then those individuals could, use those points to purchase something. But I guess you kind of have to be careful, because then everybody's going to raise their hand and say, well, I'm doing something special also. But I do love your idea. I would love to hear your ideas on what maybe should be a reward or incentive for people to do that.
Yeah, maybe that's a to-do for the solutions lab too.
Yeah.
In my previous role, I was the EHS engagement lead. So we did exactly that. We had a point system and people could cash them in either at our company store or for different rewards. So maybe we can kind of share how we can weave recognition into this MSD champion role.
Yep, definitely.
So the next question, I'm going to point to Julia. First off, from Allison, she wanted to say, it's great to see an all-woman leadership panel on this topic, and I am just thrilled with this as well. So often, as we know, it's very much a male-dominated industry. So can you provide insights on how you feel this impacts your efforts in the workplace, and have you experienced gender bias in trying to drive change with the science of ergonomics?
I have experienced bias. It's been a long time, I will say. even my first interview, walking through an automotive facility with a female engineer, and the responses from the men, and she would say, "Oh, you get used to it." Needless to say, I didn't work there, but I think within ergonomics, when I look around, there's such a variety of people, but I think that there are a lot more women within our field, maybe not safety in general, but within the field of ergonomics, I see a lot more women. So I haven't felt that there's as much bias necessarily towards that. I do think that there are some opportunities we have, and I think there's some efforts in that. Like PPE not being designed for all women, right? PPE is usually designed for men. It doesn't fit the women. So there's a lot of opportunity. Most of the gentlemen that I work with, they've really been very open and respectful of women, and it's been a long time. So I think in our field, I haven't experienced it as much. When I work with clients on occasion, but usually they're looking for help with an ergonomics issue. And as long as you can speak the language and speak it competently, like when I'm speaking to a class of engineers, the language I use is different than I'm working with operators, because, they're looking to see, do you know what you're talking about? Who are you to tell us how to design something? And so, I always come across, this is my goal, this is where I'm coming from, and I'm open to hearing your perspectives too, so we can all learn from each other when we teach a class. So
yeah, I appreciate that. And would any of the other panelists like to chime in with your experience, either experiencing this issue or even being able to find controls that can fit a diverse workforce?
I'll mention, I've been in safety a very long time. And when I first started as a safety manager, similar to what Julia was talking about, I mean, comments from men or even blatant, you're a woman, so I don't have to do what you're asking me to. And I've had a variety of horribly negative situations, particularly in meatpacking. But whenever I talked about ergonomics, it was like a light switched, because I think they could recognize I was truly trying to help them. And of course, I was trying to help them as a safety person as well. But I almost felt like I knew something that they weren't familiar with. And so they would listen a little bit more. So I've been fortunate since I've been focusing on ergonomics. I feel like the trust level is higher than when I was in safety almost, which is very sad to say, but it's out there. I think it's still out there for sure, gender bias. So.
Yeah, and as we focus on, this topic, innovation and collaboration, it is so important as leaders, no matter what your gender is, to speak the language, right? Understand what others' goals are, coming to that conversation confident and knowing what you're talking about, and then letting them know that you really are only there because of them. Right. EHS, IH, ergo professionals, we wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for our workforce, right? So leading with that and understanding that we really are trying to solve for a common goal. So we have a couple more questions, and we have some time for those. Dr. Liu, how do you see new tech making it from actual research to practice? And what is academia's responsibility to make that happen?
Previously, usually it's probably we see a problem in practice and then called literature review of existing technologies out there from the technical field like computer science, and then adopt one, select the most appropriate one and adopt. But right now, at least from my side, I would see a need to or trying to change it, because people would then realize the not perfect suitability between these two. So we now need to learn both fields and then customize a technology for the problem. Meanwhile, we also have to include the knowledge about product development, so we speak the similar language with the potential users who would help us articulate how to deploy that ultimately in the field. So that's why I mentioned from day one, we really need to articulate that properly.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And, talking about speaking the same language as researchers and practitioners and solution providers, right? That's something that we continue to hear about, is that solution providers may not understand the, industry terms and vice versa. So being able to kind of create that open forum to talk to each other. Thanks, Dr. Liu. Yeah. So Julia, last question. You gave examples of prevention through design with the Ergo Cup examples. So can you talk about this strategy in the context of the NIOSH hierarchy of controls? And why do you think prevention through design is really a key prevention strategy?
If you start at the top, right, doing substitution, elimination, and engineering, you're looking at removing the risk or reducing the risk or substituting it for something hopefully less risky. And I think if we can get our engineers, our designers out there to design jobs from the start and be proactive with the human in mind. A lot of our engineers are not getting ergonomics training at the university. Yeah, I taught a class last semester, and it was eye-opening for some of them, because the human is a key component to work. And they're considering the strength of the materials they're working with. They're considering the longevity of the machines and the equipment and the breakdown times, but they're not considering the human. So if we can work with them to design that work up front to eliminate risk that might be in existing lines or processes, and not just copy that over to the next generation, but to actually fix it and address some of the problems that are there, then we can reduce that risk significantly, so people can come in, go to work, do their job, and not have to worry about coming home with an injury that's going to affect their daily life. So, and I will say that we mentioned exoskeletons, we typically throw in that PPE category, right? They're not changing the work environment. So there's a lot of opportunities there for us to be upfront in what we're designing, to not design things to be on the floor when people are working, but to consider that human component as a part of the system.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And also really kind of having ergonomists and the EHS professionals on site embedded into that management of change process, or those pre-startup safety reviews, to really make sure that you're buying the right kind of equipment and introducing it appropriately.
Yeah. And making sure that it's not after it's already in the plant.
Right.
We've got a couple folks we're working with that they're doing their sign-offs when the equipment is in the plant, getting ready to start up. So you want to get there before then.
Yeah, I remember those days and I don't miss them. Would anyone else like to chime in with their innovative or effective examples, especially if you're able to eliminate or substitute some of these risks out? No.
I'll make a comment.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for that question, as you know, but going back to the end of the video where the PT was saying, there's $5 fix, there's a $5,000 fix, there's a $5 million fix. I think it's extremely critical that we show the employees that we're trying to do something. And Julia mentioned something about this, do something quick and easy, and make sure that you're letting the employee know that you're fixing this in response to them, because that drives engagement. And the more people think that you're going to do something, then they're willing to raise their hand and say, I have an idea. And almost all the good ideas come from employees that are doing the work, because they stand there and they do the job all day, or they're running around and they're constantly thinking what I would change about this job. And all they need is for you to say, tell me about it. I am interested, and we will actually put this into, we'll implement it. And I think that's a big driver of your program. And one other comment, nobody's mentioned it, but early reporting, well, somebody might have mentioned it, but having employees report their pain and discomfort early on is a big driver of your Ergo program, because again, it leads to brainstorming and thinking about how we're going to fix this job. So
yeah, having a forum that the workforce can come to you with their issues, but then also building the trust that you will solve the
Do
problem,
something.
right? Not just let it sit there on dead ears. We did have
Exactly.
one more question from Allison. It's about training. So I think this would be good for a couple of us to talk about kind of what you all do. So what level of ergonomics training do you provide to your team members? Is it hours of continuing education or required certifications or in-house training? And then also, what is your go-to training that you like to use? Dana, I'll start with you.
So when we think about our training, our audience is, our employees, our production workers out on the floor. And so we do talk about ergonomics in our new hire training, as well as once annually. So it's an area I think that we can definitely be more proactive with the training. And one of the main things that we do focus on is that early reporting. We do require early reporting as well. And it's been one of the most significant impactful things to our program, and really focusing that on day one with our employees on why it's important and how this can change if you don't report it. So we do basic training for ergonomics.
Thanks. And Kathy, what does Schneider Electric do?
We have a wide variety of training. In fact, we're working on a specific training matrix so that every site is hitting all the different options. But as Dana said, we certainly hit it at orientation, because you shouldn't hide the fact that people are probably going to hurt when they start to work, and you want to explain why and what to do about it, and open up that discussion about, we're worried about your posture, and what is posture, and why do we need to be concerned about how tight you're gripping something, and things like that. So we start with orientation, and then we continually throughout the year, we encourage the sites to talk about this in shift startup meetings. So generally what happens is safety will provide some short little blurb just to talk about, hey, today we're going to have a refresher on what is neutral posture, and maybe have the supervisor run through that. Annual training to go over all the general guidelines and reporting early and things like that. And then we also, I mentioned this very briefly, but we have a very in-depth ergo design training class for all the engineers. And that's very intensive, but it's helped them design the lines and the processes. So
thanks, Kathy. And Julia, I think I'd like to know what your favorite training or your go-to training is.
Actually, we just redid our engineering class, and it's fun to teach to me, but the other one that's really fun is doing the team training, because we love to see our reward is to see that spark that says, oh, I get it. That ergonomics isn't this hard to say word that, is used to talk about chairs and other things. It's something that I can do, and I see how it relates to my job, and just to see that light bulb go off.
Mm-hmm.
The teams I love for the enthusiasm, the engineers I love because I like to, just win them over, especially when they're not, well, why am I here? What do I need to go to this training for? And then you win them over and say, oh, I can apply these concepts and make my job easier too, and have a better product at the end or process at the end. So.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, it's all about collaborating together for this common goal. So thank you all so much, Dr. Liu, Kathy, Dana, and Julia, for your insight and the in-depth discussion really about the importance of innovation and collaboration to improve workplace health and safety. So thank you all for joining us. As you heard, every organization is at a different point on their safety journey, and our mission at NSC is to help all workplaces advance theirs, no matter if they are a multinational corporation or a small business. Our annual Workplace Safety Summit is a good reminder of that, and it's designed to convene thought leaders from around the globe to drive meaningful action against the most pressing safety challenges of our time, like workplace MSDs. As Paul and Sarah mentioned earlier, we could not be more proud of the 200+ organizations, which represent nearly 2.9 million employees, for heeding this call to make MSD prevention a core focus of their safety culture through the MSD Pledge and MSD Pledge 2.0. It is truly amazing what we've accomplished together in the past 2 years. You have risen to the challenge and are helping to create safer, healthier workplaces for all through widespread MSD prevention. But this isn't the end of our journey at the MSD Solutions Lab. Health and safety is all about continuous improvement. And with the focus of today's summit on innovation and collaboration, I'm thrilled to share that NSC is awarding another $265,000 through our pioneering Research to Solutions and MSD Solutions pilot grant programs. After debuting last year, a total of $540,000 has now been committed in grants to foster innovative, transferable methods to mitigate MSDs across a wide range of sectors and workplaces. For the 2024-2025 grant cycle, NSC called upon Research to Solutions applicants to support one or more key research areas, including emerging technologies, solutions to jobs or tasks known to have high MSD risk, MSD management systems, and total worker well-being. I'm pleased to share this year's Research to Solutions grant recipients include the following universities: Virginia Tech, which was awarded $50,000 to examine machine learning and AI-based biomechanical exposure assessments across diverse work groups. North Carolina State, which was awarded $50,000 to evaluate an augmented reality visualization and optimization tool on work zones to assess real-time object placement. Oregon State, which was awarded $50,000 to develop a non-invasive lower back injury risk assessment using a smartphone motion capture system. And Wichita State, which was awarded $48,500 to assess the feasibility of utilizing arm support exoskeletons for overhead construction tasks and evaluating the impact on musculoskeletal health. A big congratulations to this year's awardees, and we can't wait to see what promising new safety solutions you'll uncover to help prevent work-related MSDs. This year's MSD Solutions pilot grants, which is designed to help organizations prevent MSDs caused by upper extremity work, provides MSD pledge members with the opportunity to partner with 6 leading technology providers to trial emerging solutions in real-life applications. I'm pleased to share the pledge members selected for the 2024-2025 MSD Solutions pilot grants include Ocean Spray Cranberries and the City of Tacoma, which were awarded $20,000 and will work with Veru Dynamics Limited to mitigate hand-arm vibration measures and exposure among 40 power tool operators in Tacoma, Washington. PepsiCo Global Concentrate Solutions, which was awarded $18,000 and will team with Life Booster to collect and analyze ergonomic risk data and identify upper extremity mitigation strategies. Wonder Brands, which was awarded $18,000 and will also partner with Life Booster to identify and address ergonomic risks caused by upper extremity work, in addition to evaluating in-house capabilities for digitized risk assessments to help reduce injuries. And Superior 2 Products, which was awarded $10,000 and will use 3M Motion AI's video motion capture technology to quantify the impact of existing safety programs and create an enterprise evaluation of risk and actionable data to drive ergonomic solutions. Congratulations to this year's pilot grant awardees. All the grant recipients will have an opportunity to present their safety findings at the 2025 NSC Safety Congress and Expo or another event next year. In the meantime, you can learn more about the inaugural grant recipients' key findings and research at this year's NSC Safety Congress and Expo in Orlando, Florida, from September 16th through 18th. In addition to highlighting last year's grant recipients, we'll be hosting our 3rd annual Safety Innovation Challenge to spotlight the latest in safety technology. We also encourage you to join our workshop, Promoting Safety Excellence, Applying SIF Principles to MSD Prevention. So be sure to sign up for Congress and Expo using the registration link in the chat. Before we close out today's program, I want to say a few more words about recent and upcoming efforts from the MSD Solutions Lab. In case you didn't see, we're so excited to say that the lab's research team has published its 3rd white paper on the intersection of DE&I and MSDs and addressing key safety culture concerns today's employers may have. such as how organizational policies and structures may disproportionately impact certain workers. You can find a link to this resource in the chat. And this week, we also released our first Emerging Issues report, which focuses on how AI can be used to prevent workplace MSDs. We are so excited to highlight this innovative work, and a link to the resource can also be found in the chat. Before the end of the year, we're still busy. We'll release a white paper focusing on non-physical risk factors, and also release our second annual MSD Solutions Index report on the MSD Pledge member insights from the second year of this initiative of the index. A special thank you to all organizations who have participated. As we finish today's summit, I also want to encourage anyone that has not yet joined the Pledge community to sign the MSD Pledge 2.0. As a hallmark of this initiative, members have the unique opportunity to identify their own MSD risk reduction goal over the next 5 years after signing based on their organizational specific objectives, resources, and priorities. It doesn't matter if you have a 25% reduction goal or a 1% target. Our charge at the MSD Solutions Lab is to empower any organization committed to safety progress to join us and charter MSD Pledge members at the table in addressing this pervasive safety challenge. You can join this movement by signing the MSD Pledge using the QR code on the screen or the link in the chat. It's through our collective effort of all of us that will be one step closer to achieving our vision of a world where all workplaces are free from MSDs and workers can truly live their fullest lives. If you have any questions, we are always available by email at msdsolutionslab@nsc.org or email us in the chat. You can also use the QR code on the screen to learn more. So thank you again for attending today's summit and for your continued support, partnership, and commitment to safety improvement and innovation. For more information and additional benefits, we invite you to join NSC as members. Please use the QR code on your screen to get more information on the value of NSC membership. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. As always, be safe.